I am so tired of people telling me to add practices to my day. Whether it is the morning routine of waking up at a certain time and getting exercise and getting sunlight and getting the cold plunge or cold shower or meditation or yoga or whatever it is all just so much. I do not have that much time in the day. So here is the best tool. If you're in the same boat, here's the best tool for recognizing what you're doing, what you're fulfilling, what each of these, like where they fit in and how they work together. That's the real joy and feckin' beauty of this tool. I will put up like a little infographic here. This is of course from John Vervaeke. Eventually he will just pull me down for copyright strike on all of my videos, but for today we're going to go through it anyway. And this is his ecology of practices. So when you're thinking of an ecology, you're thinking of an ecosystem, how things network together. You were thinking in the forests, how the birds eat the seeds and that feed that brings on the next generation of trees, or how the worms could destroy the soil, like if they went to work too much, so the birds eat that and protect the trees, and then how the birds maybe destroy the trees by putting nests in. Like the whole system is complicated, if not complex, and there is a difference. But we won't get into that. Essentially, what you need to think of is nature and how there's a whole system, and if you take one part out, it will have knock-on effects because you don't know what is eating that insect or that little part. You don't know how the plants depend on that little insect or that little part or whatever it is. There is a cycle of life. So with that in mind, let's put that lens onto our practices for every day. And they all kind of fit into one of 8 categories. And also when you're going through this, I want you to notice where you tend to lie as an individual. So the first two, the first dyad, because they go against each other, is opponent processing. The first two is meditation and contemplation. Now meditation, for the ease of this analogy, is taking off your glasses. Whatever way you are looking at the world, you are trying to take off the glasses and just come back to your breath. You are thinking, worrying, stressing, you are fantasizing, you are predicting, you are reminiscing, you are remembering, you are being nostalgic, like the whole, put an ing word to it and come back to your breath. And you come back to this present moment. And how does that feel? When you let go of all this worry and all these stories that could play out and all these pathways that could be, and you just come back and you just ease and breathe and feel the current moment. That is meditation. Then you have contemplation. Contemplation is putting a set of glasses on. What would the world be like if I was Jesus? What would the world be like if I was Zorro? If I had a mask on and if I was looking to sword fight with anyone and if I was looking to be a bit swag about it? What would it be, maybe a bit more practically for us here, if we actually did energy work, if we soaked up the sun, if we just imagined, if we put on the glasses that said we are literally like plants soaking up the sun and we are letting it diffuse through our bodies and planting it through our feet into the ground. What does that do? Or maybe if you're doing Tai Chi, what would it do if you feel as if from your knees down is in mud, is in rock? What if your waist is in the water? And what if from your navel up is air? What does that do? It shifts your perspective slightly, and then that might give you insight. That little shift might be the shift that's needed to get you out of the stuck space you're in. But how do you know if those glasses are clean? You have to take them off first, and then you have to put them on. This is meditation and contemplation. That is your 2. So again, ask yourself, which one do you tend to kind of live in? Do you live in the present moment at all times? And then do you need to incorporate a bit of play by leaning a bit more or giving a bit more time to contemplation and do yoga or energy work or serious play, ritual, any of that stuff? Okay, so that's your first 2. Your second 2 is sitting and moving practices. So you're going to notice here that when I meditate, I'm probably sitting as well. So different practices are going to have a different constellation amongst these 8 little categories. So sitting, for all intents and purposes, is letting your brain kind of just go off into the ether or whatever it is. But it is a moment of trying to reflect inwards. Whatever, again, it'll depend on your practice specifically, but maybe even like a sharing circle, might be communal, and might not be going in the way, might be going out the way, if that makes sense. And then you have a moving practice, which is getting you to embody this body that you have, and maybe put it on autopilot and do some practice that you do every day, such as yoga or such as Tai Chi, or like some form of dance, perhaps some form of ritual where it is so practiced it is automatic, but it brings you into your body and allows you to bring your body into that more ethereal kind of hard to describe place when you're doing a practice. Maybe again, just focus on the categories. How you understand it and how you internalize it and how they interact for you is up to you. This is just a tool and you use it. So meditation, contemplation, sitting, standing. Then we have collective and individual. So again, where do you tend to sit? Where do you tend to stand? Like where do you lean? If you're an introvert, you'll probably naturally do quite a bit of individual work, whether it's diary entries or whether it's cold plunges or whatever else. And if you're extroverted, you'd probably do that cold plunge with a group. So again, just recognizing where you are naturally and maybe try and lean and try and stretch yourself into the opposing side to balance yourself out. So individual, figure out who you are. Collective, figure out how you fit or how you bounce. And this brings us into the last dyad here, which is creative and absorptive. That's the word. Couldn't think of it there for a second. But creative is when you're creating so if you're doing dance or something like that, you are intuiting, you are following your own energy, you are following your own passion, your own interest, your own flair, whatever it is. You are just expressing yourself. In the absorptive practice, you might do a group dance where you are surrendering or kind of sacrificing yourself into a group dynamic, such as like a team spirit. If you play sports and you're on a team, there's a team spirit and you surrender yourself into that aim, that goal, that collective action, that collective direction. So how does that fit for you? Again, I'll show the infographic here somewhere, but meditation, contemplation, taking the glasses off, putting them on. You've sitting and standing. One to maybe let the brain wander freely, and the other to maybe bring the body, the embodied sense, into wherever you're going. Then you have individual and you've collective. And again, that's going into yourself, or then seeing how, on the collective side, seeing how yourself reflects through others, or what, again, it's simply a tool. I'm thinking of like a share circle there or something like that as a collective, or maybe the conversation workshops that I keep going on about as a collective, and seeing how we reflect each other. But maybe I'm projecting, who knows? And then you have creative and absorptive. Creative being your own essence, absorptive being part of a group, feeling part of something higher than just yourself. And there's a constellation in all of your practices. You will recognize this. You do meditation. That is meditation, obviously. It's a sitting practice. It might be individual, and whether it's creative or absorptive might depend on how you feel about it. Are you doing a meditation practice where you're doing like a gratitude practice or something like that? Wouldn't necessarily be meditation, then be more contemplation, but you know what I mean. But are you feeding into a tradition, and is that kind of how the energy feels? Is that how you feel doing it? Or do you feel very creative where you are kind of off in the ether, just self-reflecting and thinking about whatever it is? Again, not necessarily meditation there. But take the conversation workshops, for example. That is a contemplative exercise, perhaps. You want to meditate to be in the moment, but then you're contemplating, because there's a form and there's a structure around the conversations. So what is a conversation like when you shift perspectives into that style? Is it sitting or is it moving? It's sitting. But there could be a movement practice as well. Then is it individual or collective? That one is collective. And then is it absorptive or creative? And that is creative, I would put down for the conversation workshops that we do. Because you are, again, listening to this intuition and how that presents itself, and then what that affords in real time. Again, I've tried to sell that many a times, so I won't do a sales pitch here today. Today, I just want to focus on this tool. I have found this so beneficial. I found this so freeing that in my day, I'm just like, out of the 8, where am I? It's like I skipped my cold shower, I skipped the yoga, but I did do meditation, I did my diary entry. Okay, like where I'm still feeling just, okay, well, I didn't do a moving practice and I didn't do anything collective. It's like, okay, maybe I can't organize the collective like late in the evening, but I could do a moving practice. I could do some yoga. I could just go for a run and do some exercise. Any of these things. It's just reframed how I look at it and the pressures I put on myself, and even just recognizing it's not even like a social pressure where I need to do this stuff. It's just, I know what it takes to be balanced, like roughly speaking. Let's get rid of the ego there. But I'm trying to tune into what it takes to keep me balanced. And this tool has been just exquisite, beautiful, very dynamic, very malleable, and I can't give it enough praise. It's so simple. And maybe it won't strike you as something like, earth-shattering or mind-blowing or anything in this moment, but write them down. Take a screenshot when I put up the infographic, or go back to when I did, and take a screenshot and just revisit it and just allow it to kind of seep in, and you will find so many benefits, I believe. So there's a gift today from John Vervaeke through me to you, through this little camera that I'm looking at and through your screen that you're looking at in our whole very connected society that we have at the moment. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next week, guys. Bye.